So Call of Duty, 10, 20, 40, pay your fucking dues, bitch.
Easily banned.
All the trolls are always trying to screw me. This shit remind me of my helicopter cruise. WWE champions. Pay to win like every day, yeah.
I don't play mobile games.
Funny how they still think I'm a broke man.
Then I'm broke.
Even though I be pulling Hogan. I spent like 40 grand on a couple thousand pictures of some sweaty men. Oh no, I'm broke again. Better go break some more appliances. You were never gonna pay that bounty anyway. I need a member bombing rally almost every day. I spend like 40 grand on a couple thousand pictures of some sweaty men. Yeah.
Oh no, you didn't, you motherfucking piece of shit cocksucker. Literally, my one interaction with Gary's mod. You ready for this? So, over a decade ago, I was a popular YouTuber, very popular gaming YouTuber, and I was kind of a hot commodity for a while, where people liked my content, they wanted to have me at conventions and shows, they wanted to interview me, you know, because I was one of the biggest gaming YouTubers at the time. Everyone knew Darkside Phil on YouTube at one point, okay? And at one point, I started attending gaming conventions, and I attended MagFest, I attended Too Many Games, I attended New York Comic Con, I attended a bunch, and at some of these conventions, I had panels and the like. And basically, one year, I went to this MagFest event, and this was at the height of my popularity, I would argue, on YouTube. Like, I was very popular, and I ended up being so popular, they allowed me to have a panel for my fans. They allowed me to have a vendor place in the vendor area where I could sell, like, merch and things related to my content and things like that. And it was very successful. Like, our panel was packed to the brim with attendees. It was full. The room was full of fans of mine and John Rambo and all of our friends and content and everything. I'm almost positive you could still go watch the panel and everything from it. You know, this was over 10 years ago. So this is when we were advertising things like Project 7 and stuff like that, right? So, fast forward to a year later. Now, again, my panel had been completely packed, sold out. You know, you're talking hundreds of people attended MagFest with the intention of attending the panel. Like, they made a lot of money on us and everything that year, right? A year later, and it's MagFest again, and I was trying to get a panel again. And essentially, they weren't responding to me. And I didn't understand why, because the year before, I'd been so, you know, one of their more popular kind of YouTube indie guys that had been there at the show. And what had happened was in the years of, I think it was like, I want to say it was like the years of 2012 to 2013. A lot else had changed on the internet. So basically, I was falling out of prominence on YouTube because if this is how you don't play. This is how you don't play turned me, I'm not kidding, I wish this was a joke. It really isn't. I went from being one of the more prominent, well-respected, well-sought-out YouTubers for gaming to a laughingstock. People instead wanted to make fun of Darkside Phil and deride Darkside Phil than actually watch his content and do anything to do with him, you know? And other prominent YouTubers at that point, Game Grumps and guys like that, Two Best Friends Play, they have become way more prominent, and I was kind of on a decline because of this, okay? So I had, you know, applied to be at MagFest, and I wasn't getting responses. So I actually had to go to, like, their IRC servers and shit to try to talk to them and be like, why are you guys, like, ignoring my requests? I don't get it. Last year, I was one of the more popular guys there. We brought you hundreds of attendees. My fans want us to be there again. They're dying to see another panel with me and John and all of our stuff that we're doing and everything. And basically, they kept blowing smoke up my butt about the reasons. What's funny is, like, I remember, you know, how does it have to do with Gary's mod? I started looking at other panels, right, that they were holding. And so eventually when I started talking to the directors of MagFest, and they were giving me excuse after excuse, right? Oh, we just don't, this year, listen, not everyone gets into MagFest every year. You have to understand that even just because you apply, you're not guaranteed. Even though you had a really great year last year, that doesn't guarantee you'll get in this year. And so I start pulling stuff up. I'm like, wait a minute. So then, what about Game Grumps? Why do they get a panel? What about Two Best Friends Play? Why are they getting a panel? Like, there was an entire panel dedicated to Gary's mod in 2013. 2013. This wasn't the prominent time for Gary's Mod when it was white hot popular. This was years and years and years later, after it wasn't popular anymore. What it is the directors of MagFest were basically a good old boys club. If at the time you were seen as something prominent or friendly with the staff, or they liked you and your content, they would have you at the event. But the moment that you were no longer prominent, that was it. Even if you had a track record of history with them where you brought them business and everything, they didn't care. So basically what had happened was the year before, all right, these guys who ran MagFest had liked my content, but in that year that This Is How You Don't Play had become popular, basically they saw me as a laughingstock. And because of that, they thought anything is better than Darkside Phil. I'm serious. So I'd like campaign for like 2-3 straight weeks, kept bugging them about it. And eventually they were going to allow me to be there at like 3 in the morning. I'm not kidding. 3 a.m. panel for Darkside Phil if he wants to have a panel for his fans. So I basically told him, no, I'm not going to waste my time on you. And, you know, that's very disrespectful, you know, that I, you know, brought them business the year before and I saw how it was now. And again, they had no valid way to justify that they had panels for other YouTubers of similar stature and prominence as me, but they got panels, but I didn't. Even though I applied before them, they got the panel and I didn't. And they had entire panels dedicated to shit like mods on fucking Gary's Mod panel. Dude, it's Gary's Mod. All it's gonna do, people talking about their Gary's Mods. That's more important than like a YouTuber who wants to bring in hundreds and hundreds of his viewers and fans to come, you know, meet me, do Q&A and everything. It was bullshit, basically. Again, it was because these people didn't like me anymore because This Is How You Don't Play had made a joke out of me. So they didn't want to have me at their event as a panelist because they thought that, you know, people would laugh about why did you have Darkside Phil there when everyone makes fun of him on YouTube now, you see. But anyway, I just thought it was funny because, like, I didn't even know what Gary's Mod was. And I started doing research into it. And I was like, I get it, but you want to talk about niche? Like, that's a niche modding community on PC. There's nothing wrong with it. But the panel that I would have brought to MagFest would have absolutely had more attendees and more any kind of attention than a Gary's Mod panel in 2013 would have. They just didn't care. It was what they liked. They liked the Game Grumps that year. They liked Two Best Friends Play. They liked Gary's Mod. So everything they like is at their event, and they didn't give a shit about me and John or any of our fans or anything like that. So I told them nah, and that we never attended again, didn't give a crap, you know. That was actually the end for me because basically what I saw was if that's the case and that's how I'm going to be treated, then that's just going to continue. So why even bother trying to get into conventions and things in the future if that's what was going to happen, you know? And it's funny because to this day, people say things like, oh, This Is How You Don't Play is not why people don't like you. No, 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 it is. That was the beginning. That whole This Is How You Don't Play, even if it wasn't intended to be malicious or destroy a career or anything like that, that's literally exactly what it did. It was 100% what destroyed my reputation. Instead of people laughing at me, or excuse me, instead of people laughing with me, they were now laughing at me. It was more fun to deride Phil and make him embarrass Phil and make him look stupid or old or bad than to actually enjoy his content anymore. And that really was the flip for me, was that I, all of a sudden within 1 year, I went from Mr. Prominent to no one is seeking you for anything. You can't even get a panel at like a fucking game convention. Nothing. Like, what? That was just crazy to me. So yeah, but anyway, that's the only association I've ever had or known anything about Gary's Mod. It's called revisionist history. Why am I ignoring it? The person who's going to argue with me about my panel at MagFest 2012, they're going to tell me that I had a relatively small panel with a mixed reaction, and that's why MagFest didn't invite me back. Interesting. Even though it was standing room only, there were people in the back of the room who had to stand up for 2 rows because there was not enough room for people to stand or to sit in the room. And there were people waiting outside of the room for an hour before we started. That was a relatively small panel. Idiot. That's why I ignored stupidity, just so you know. But it's called revisionist history. It's when people like you, everyone believes you, and everyone, you know, likes you, and will say good things about you. And when idiots on the internet hate you, they will literally do anything they can to discredit every single positive thing you could ever say about yourself. No, there actually was a time when I was a popular YouTuber, and people wanted to go to conventions and meet me and sign and get autographs signed and take pictures and attend a panel and do all kinds of stuff with me. Maybe not today, but that did actually happen over a decade ago. You're just an idiot if you don't believe that. You're a fucking moron.